You don't wake up with clarity, you wake up with a quiet pressure in your chest you can't name. It's older than your goals, older than your plans, older than the life you keep telling yourself you're building. It doesn't knock. It seeps in anyway. After you've scrolled, after the noise fades right before sleep takes you. And then it asks, without mercy, is this it? Is this what you're doing with your life? The ancient Greeks had a word for it. Eudaimonia. You try to translate it and immediately fail. Happiness feels shallow. Flourishing gets closer but still misses something essential. The resistance is the point. Because what they meant was never something you could stumble into by accident. The good life isn't a mood, it isn't a lucky streak, it's a discipline, a craft, something you either practice or slowly lose. You have more answers than any human in history and still feel uncertain. Why? There are endless philosophies, endless systems promising clarity, endless voices telling you how to live. And yet that low-grade hunger never leaves. You feel it on the commute, in the reflex to check your phone, in the sense that time is slipping through your hands unnoticed. So here's the uncomfortable question. If everything is available, why do you still feel off? Maybe the problem isn't missing answers. Maybe it's buried questions. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for inspiration. He sat down each morning and confronted himself. No audience, no performance. Just a man reminding himself how to live before the world interrupted him. And here's what should unsettle you. He didn't search for new truths. He repeated the same ones, again and again. Not because he was stuck, because he understood something you might be avoiding. Knowing is useless if you don't practice. This is where Stoicism becomes uncomfortable. The good life isn't something you discover once and then keep forever. You lose it constantly, and you rebuild it daily. Through attention, through repetition, through choosing again what actually matters. Like a musician drilling scales, not because they forgot, but because precision fades without effort. So ask yourself, what are you rehearsing every day without realizing it? Zeno of Citium stood in the Stoa and made a claim that still challenges you now. The universe runs on logos, reason, order, structure. And your suffering often comes from resisting it. You want reality to bend. It doesn't. So the Stoics asked something sharper. What if the problem isn't the world, but your refusal to align with it? The good life isn't comfort. It's alignment. And alignment requires surrendering the illusion of control. Picture a carpenter working with wood for decades. She doesn't force it. She reads it. She understands where it will resist and where it will yield. That level of skill isn't talent. It's earned, slowly, painfully. So here's the shift. What if your life is no different? The Stoics called this virtue. Not morality as performance, but mastery of living. The question is, are you forcing your life or learning how it actually works? You've been trained to think the good life is ahead of you. Just one more step, one more win, one more fix. But that framing quietly traps you, because it keeps you chasing instead of living. It turns your entire existence into a project that never finishes. So let's interrupt that. What if the good life isn't ahead of you at all? What if it's only ever available now and you keep postponing it? Epictetus had no luxury of illusion. Born into slavery, he didn't have control over his circumstances, but he found something more precise than freedom. He found the boundary of the self. What happens to you is not yours. What you do with it is. Completely. And that distinction changes everything. So ask yourself honestly, How much of your life are you wasting trying to control what was never yours to begin with? The Stoics didn't promise calm seas. They trained sailors, people who understand storms instead of fearing them. Because hardship isn't the exception, it's the terrain. The real question is who you are when it arrives. Do you collapse or adapt? They didn't eliminate grief, pain, or loss. They transformed your relationship to it. So here's the interruption. Are you trying to avoid difficulty or become someone who can withstand it? You measure your life from the outside in. Status, income, validation, metrics that look solid, but feel strangely empty at 3 a.m. And you know that feeling. That quiet suspicion that something important has been traded away. The Stoics saw this clearly. They called it confusing what is convenient with what is good. So let's make it direct. If everything you're chasing disappeared tomorrow, what would actually remain of you? Of course, there are things worth preferring: health, comfort, connection. The Stoics weren't denying that. They were drawing a line. Because anything fortune can give, it can remove. And if your life depends on those things, then your life is fragile. But there's something it cannot touch: how you act, how you think, how you treat people. So here's the shift. Are you building a life that survives loss, or one that collapses with it? The good life doesn't happen when everything finally comes together. It happens in moments you usually overlook. In a conversation where you actually listen. In a decision where you choose honesty over ease. And whether you notice what's in front of you, or move past it, distracted again. Philosophy isn't preparation, it's participation. So be honest. How often are you actually here for your own life? Seneca didn't soften the message. You are dying, not eventually, continuously. And you're spending your time as if there's always more. That's the illusion. But here's the reversal. Awareness of death doesn't diminish life. It sharpens it. It forces clarity. It burns away what doesn't matter. So answer this without dodging it. If your time is limited, why are you still treating it like it isn't? So what is a good life, really? Not a concept, not a definition. Something you enact. It looks like courage when it would be easier to stay silent. It looks like honesty when it costs you something. It looks like someone who stops waiting for conditions to improve before allowing themselves to live. So here's the question that cuts deeper. What are you still postponing that actually defines your life? That question you feel in the quiet was never about finding an answer. It was about becoming someone. Someone whose actions and values don't contradict each other. Someone who doesn't perform a life, but lives one. The Stoics called this living according to nature, but not some abstract idea. Your nature, rational, moral, capable, still there beneath everything you've layered on top of it. So what are you pretending not to see? The path doesn't resolve. The morning keeps coming. The question doesn't go away. But something shifts. You stop running from it. You sit with it. And in that space, uncomfortable, quiet, real, you begin to build something different. Not perfect, not finished, but honest. And maybe that's the real interruption. What if a life worth living isn't found, but built? One deliberate moment at a time.